This story was when I was younger and braver and kinda did stupid stuff without thinking. It's a wild ride and it's all true. I used to work at a pizza shop down the street from 2 p.m. until they closed. I usually didn't get off until 11 or so at night. I had a car but was close enough to walk, so I did that most days just to save on gas. This particular night, I was doing my usual thing, jamming to one of my playlists, tired but happy to have a good job and just generally happy with the way my life was going. Up ahead, about a block from my place, I see an attractive guy in dark clothing walking, but not with a purpose, really. He was taller than me, maybe 5'10" or 6 foot or so, and had shaggy brown hair. The closer I got to him, the more I could tell he was really good looking. Like, even in the dark of night, I was starting to get excited. His features kinda escape me now, but I do remember his hair and his thick eyebrows. I took an earbud out, and because I'm from a dangerous city and never really cared about stranger danger, I decided to talk to him, maybe even flirt a little bit. "How's your late night going?"
"It's good. Just looking to get drunk."
"Oh, that I can help with. I got a mini bar at my place. I live just down the street." Now, that wasn't verbatim, but that's more or less how the conversation went. During the walk back to my place, I got no red flags from this guy. He seemed totally normal, and I was honestly thinking, wow, just through sheer luck, I meet this super hunky guy and he seems cool and fun. I was beside myself, really. So we get to my apartment on the second floor. I jump into host mode and offer him to have a seat and make himself comfortable. The apartment is about 640 square feet, so it's pretty small. Except for the bathroom, you can see the rest of the apartment from just about any other part of the apartment. I head into the kitchen, and while I'm pouring drinks, I glance back over at him. It was then that I noticed the first red flag. As I was asking him questions, he's more delayed with his answers, especially more so than he was just on our walk over here, which was odd to me. I go back over to the couch, I pass him his drink, and I sit down next to him. "So, what do you do for work?" I asked.
"Oh, I'm not here for sex."
He put his drink down on the table. "What do you mean? I'm not here for sex either." He stands up.
"What you got?"
he asks me. His nice guy vernacular and friendly face are now gone. I'm having a hard time processing what he means by this.
"I said what you got."
The second I stand up, he pushes me back. I fly across the room, hitting the floor, but not hard enough to pass out or anything. I get right back up, but he's already grabbed my laptop and my work bag. As I start towards him, he cuts around me and makes his way towards the front door. I'm right behind him when he makes it outside. I manage to grab a hold of him and we tussle again in the front door, and now I shout out, calling on help from the neighbors. It's late at night, so no one comes. I'm shouting, "Please help, I'm being robbed." The thing is, he has my laptop, and it's not just any laptop. I hate to admit it, but my entire life was on that thing. Important photos that I didn't have backed up, thousands of dollars of music programs, video game programming stuff for a development team that I was helping, really expensive software, etc. It was, in my mind, irreplaceable. I give chase down the stairs, across the dog walk park, and as I start to gain on him, we tussle again, and the only thing I can focus on is my laptop. I knew that I had to, at any cost, get my laptop back. That was absolutely all I cared about. Somehow, I get a grip on my laptop. I tug at it again, and I guess he decides I'm not worth all this struggle. He gets up and starts to take off again. I now realize that he still has my work bag. It has my cell phone and my wallet, which includes my license, debit cards, my AAA card, all that. I take off towards him again, and this time he shouts back at me, "Follow me and I'll stab you again." This makes me stop in my tracks and he gets away. Underneath a street lamp along the sidewalk, I immediately inspect myself. Was I stabbed? No way. There's no way. And then I see blood running down my leg. I see blood on my arm. 2 places where he cut me. I'm scared, but the blood makes it look worse than it is. I decide that's enough. I got my laptop, and that's all I really wanted anyway. I hobble back home, and I get inside and lock my door. I called the cops using my neighbor friend's phone the next day, and I filed a police report explaining the situation, showing the stab wounds and declining any medical services. I can't afford that, and I was just fine, all things considered. So, all that guy got was a crappy cell phone and a wallet with like 30 or 40 bucks in it. The cop called my friend back several days later and said that they weren't able to find the guy and that he would keep me posted. This was years ago, so I don't know where the robber is now, but I have every electronic thing of importance backed up on multiple drives to this day. It happened in my bedroom at the age of 10. I always had trouble sleeping and spent most nights tossing and turning. I was a horror film fanatic as a child, and being scared was something I didn't have much experience with. I wasn't afraid of the dark, nor was I easily swayed by strange sounds or odd encounters. I did, however, know when to haul ass out of a situation or to find a trusted adult. I always slept with my closet doors open, which will come to be of some significance later in the story. I should also mention that my family was home in a heavily wooded area, in what some may refer to as the middle of nowhere. One night, around 1 a.m., I awoke to a sound coming from underneath my bed. It sounded like one of my cats were scratching themselves with one of their feet or doing something to cause a thumping beneath me. I had heard this same sound many times before, and its source had always been one of my fuzzy friends, so this time I didn't look. I closed my eyes and I tried to resume my slumber. I turned over onto my left side, which left me facing the wall against which my bed was pressed up. I heard the sound again, and thinking that my cat was directly beneath me, I said good night, and I was able to fall asleep once again. The next time I woke up, it was to a surreal and shocking scene. The sheet and comforter of my bed were no longer covering me. I saw a man standing over my bed, poking me with his finger. And the way in which he did so was truly horrifying. It wasn't the way that a child would poke a friend in jest. It was as if he was touching another human being for the first time, exploring the sensation of the tip of his index finger jabbing at flesh. What I saw was so unbelievable, so impossibly strange that I believed I was dreaming. I tried desperately to awake from my nightmare, but to no avail. The poking continued. He poked at my chest, my belly, my legs, my arms. Paralyzed and scared shitless, I yelled, "Wake up!" And with this, the man threw himself to the floor and closed his eyes, as if he was trying to lead me to believe that he was asleep or dead. I have no fucking idea. It was at this time I realized that I could not have been dreaming. I somehow found the ability to move, and I jumped from the top of my bed over the man lying on the floor next to me, and I ran towards my parents' room. When I got to their bedroom door, something came over me. I told myself that this was all impossible, that there was no way that a person could have entered our home without breaking in, as we had always kept every door and window locked at night. I had seen many strange things in my home whilst either falling asleep or waking up. By the third or fourth time after speaking to my mom or dad about it, I knew that it was my mind playing tricks on me. Like plush toys don't have the ability to turn and whisper into each other's ears. Don't ask why, but I just have no explanation to offer you for that one. But I turned away from my parents' bedroom door and decided to hastily check the house for a break-in. What I found was that nothing was out of the ordinary. No broken windows or locks, no busted doors, nothing. I assured myself that I had been dreaming or hallucinating and blamed my obsession with horror for this. I made my way down the long, dark, and narrow hallway to my bedroom. I peeked inside and I saw no one. I turned on the light, I got down on the floor just outside the doorway, and I looked under the bed. Nothing. I proceeded to check both of my windows for signs of a break-in, which weren't present. Both windows were closed and locked. I knew it. I was totally just seeing things. I crawled back into bed and decided to watch some TV in order to calm myself down and distract from thoughts of the scary as hell dream or hallucination that I had just had. I turned on the TV, I flipped to a channel with a seemingly boring program.
Why don't you just tell us how to get back?
Too far, you never find your way in the dark.
This always helped me fall asleep fast, and I put the remote control on my bedside table. I was lying on my right side now, facing away from the wall that I mentioned previously. As I laid there, my eyes began to adjust to the dark room with a faint light from the TV screen. Just beyond the TV, I saw something that made my heart sink into the pit of my stomach. Inside my closet, with one of the doors now slightly closed, I saw the man standing perfectly still, facing the wall. Hiding. Waiting for me to fall asleep, I imagine. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. I sat and stared at the man in my closet for what felt like minutes, but was likely only a few seconds. I quietly got out of bed, hoping that the man wouldn't notice and that my dad could catch him hiding in the closet. Once I made my way to my parents' bedroom door, still remaining as quiet as I possibly could, I went inside. I shook my mom and my dad at the same time, and they awoke, and I said, "Shh. Don't make any sound. There's someone in my closet." My parents both jumped up and said, "What?" I repeated myself and I asked them to please call 911. My mom immediately picked up the phone. Neither of my parents doubted my claim, as I had always been honest and forthright. They both knew that there was no way I was making this up or that I was mistaken. I'm sure that the look I must have had on my face made it clear that this was really happening. My dad told my mom and I that he was going to look and urged us to stay in their bedroom and lock the door, so we did. At this point, I was beyond scared. I didn't know what the man was capable of, whether he had a weapon or whether my dad was safe. I just stood in the room with my mom and I cried. After what felt like hours, my dad knocked on the door and told me that it was him and that it was okay to open the door. My mom unlocked the door and let my dad inside. I said something to the effect of, "Did you get him?" And my dad looked at me with the most unsettling and confused look imaginable. He said, "There's no one there." I assured him that there was indeed a man in my room and that he had been poking me. My dad said that he had just checked every inch of the house and found no one. He had also checked the doors and windows just like I had done. And then it hit me. He must have had a key. As soon as I said this, my parents looked at each other in absolute terror. Our nearest neighbor, a trusted and beloved friend whom we considered family, was in possession of a key to our house, as she had regularly babysat me since I was a toddler. She was the only person outside of my immediate family with a key to our home. And soon after this revelation, the police arrived, took statements, checked around our property, and then left. None of us got any sleep that night. The next day, my dad went to my neighbor's house and asked if she knew where her key to our house was. She said yes, but when she went to show him, she saw that the key was missing. Her home had no signs of a break-in, and she had always kept her doors and windows locked as well. My parents had all of the locks on our doors changed and opted never to give anyone a key, except in the wake of an emergency. I never discovered the identity of the man that lurked in my bedroom that night. The event left me traumatized, and it took a very long time for me to accept what had happened and move on. My sleeping trouble turned into full-on insomnia, and for about a decade, I was unable to sleep without a light on. It's been 20 years since that night, and apart from my parents, I've never told a soul about it until now. I've actually found writing this to be very cathartic, and I'm glad that I stumbled across the Let's Not Meet subreddit. My heart goes out to anyone who has suffered a trauma in their lives, and I hope that you are all able to find peace within yourselves.